Goodness. That's a lot on your plate. And how exciting is it too to be having that conversation too, that hopefully get on the national team, go to the Olympics, and put that on your hockey resume and not your medical resume. I mean, that's a tall order, but it's fun, right?
Oh, totally. I wouldn't be playing the game if I didn't think it was fun. And, you know, I'm almost 24 years old, and I'm still going to daily practices, and I see my little sister, and she's going to be a 10th grader, and all the skates that she's doing, and I reflect back and I'm like, well, I'm still in the thick of it and training, and I still enjoy it. So that's the biggest thing for me. And I just love the game. When we lost, unfortunately, in the 4 overtimes in the NCAA tournament, I immediately was like, okay, this isn't the end for me, like, of my hockey career. Like, this can't be the end. Type
Not
of
like
feeling
this.
like we can't have that be the end all be all for me. So right when that happened, I was like, I took some time obviously to reflect on the season, and I was like, okay, I need to continue to play, and I have so much more to give the game, and I feel like I haven't reached my ceiling in hockey, so I'm excited to continue.
You know, so now that you're in the process, I bet, of trying to figure out what school to go to, how does Ottawa figure in, or are you going to put one off? Like, how do you now do that balance?
Yeah, so I'm currently applying to medical school. I'm applying to 24 schools, which is a lot, but that's honestly kind of the average these days.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and so waiting on hopefully interviews, which could begin in September, and could end up rolling all the way through March. Hopefully I get in somewhere before March. That would be nice. So that whole process, they're all virtual interviews. Now that the COVID pandemic happened, they all shifted to virtual, and they noticed that in terms of equality and preventing disparities between applicants, that it was the right thing to make them virtual rather than in person for the travel costs, which allows me the flexibility to remain in Ottawa for virtual interviews. And I've had conversations with Mike, our GM, and he's been really supportive of it, and we're gonna make it work. And if I get into medical school, then the following year I would go, unless the U.S. team, that's kind of the next step for me, is making the U.S. national team. And if the U.S. national team works out, then I would defer my medical school seat for the Olympics in 2026.
When you also look at the bigger picture, you know, here you are in Minnesota PWHL wins the first ever Walter Cup. Then you see not only Natalie Darwitz, but Chrissy Wendell-Pohl get elected into the Hall of Fame. It's almost like an embarrassment of riches for a female hockey player finally, right? But over the years here, Minnesota has always been steadfast in that. The legacy, like you said, you grew up knowing that I could play hockey. It's not out of the realm. But to see people that you actually know, Natalie was even an assistant coach, going into not only like a women's Hall of Fame, but the Hockey Hall of Fame. She's already in the IIHF. Just for the both of them, how impressive and how inspiring is that?
Totally. First of all, I just want to congratulate both of them. That's tremendous. And for them to be able to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame together, I think speaks volumes, because they've always kind of been the dynamic duo. For me growing up, like, I got to watch them play. They were the idols for me. So it's pretty cool to see them get rewarded for all their hard work that they did to especially get the University of Minnesota program on the map and win those national championships. Having Dar behind the bench for 2 years was phenomenal. She's just such a great hockey mind, and I've interacted with Chrissy quite a bit. Her daughter plays with my little sister, so she's great. They're both fantastic role models, and just so happy for them.
What is maybe the one nugget like that you learned from, whether it's Natalie or whether from Brad, that, you know, I mean, you know how to play the game. But like, kind of like, oh, this was okay, like an aha moment. from any of them in coaching, or whether it's how to balance things or take things lighter or more serious? Was there one thing?
Yeah, I think Dar really was great about, you know, when you're at the rink, like you're focused on hockey, but then when you're away from the rink, like it's important to turn it off. And she used like the analogy of a light switch. You know, when you're at the rink, like turn that light switch on, like be ready to go, be ready to compete. And then it's important, like you can't leave the lights on all the time because it just drains your energy. And so it's important to turn it off and then get away from hockey and get involved with other things. So actually talking with the Ottawa coaching staff, like they're super great about that, and they're encouraging me to get into my volunteer work and do my research and continue to do those things to get away from the hockey rink.